filter system for precious metals is about to go online. The German environment minister is on hand for the big moment. His ministry sponsored the plant. It's an innovation that's designed to cut power consumption in the production of copper, normally an expensive high-energy process.
I've made it very clear that the government wants to retain all jobs in Germany. That includes retaining companies that use a lot of power. And that's exactly what we've done in recent years.
And yet such policies have triggered a fiery debate, especially in an election year. Some companies, like copper manufacturer Arubis, need a lot of electricity for their production process. Energy prices have risen in Germany, so to ensure that such companies remain competitive internationally, they're exempt from some of the costs involved in Germany's power changeover. Instead, it's the consumer that picks up the tab. The companies hope it stays that way.
The hardest thing is the uncertainty. How will things proceed with the changeover to renewable energies? Will the law governing it change? What about power grid charges? This makes it difficult for companies which invest a lot of money in these plants.
There's uncertainty not just among companies, but also many ordinary Germans who see their energy bills rising. The opposition says phasing out nuclear power was their idea and accuses the government of messing it all up.
We know today that after changing its position, this government has failed to get to grips with the complexity of the power changeover.
Steinbrück criticizes that consumers now have to pay an extra levy to finance the move to renewables. The more solar and wind power produced, the more the price on the electricity market actually goes down. But electricity producers are guaranteed a fixed price. So if the market price falls, the consumer has to make up the difference, paying higher electricity prices.
My first step would be to lower the power tax. That would bring immediate relief for consumers and give us time to agree to a much larger blueprint for a comprehensive reform, not just of the power tax, but the market itself, with new rules for the energy markets.
The SPD says it would force electricity producers to lower their prices if they are above the average. And they want low energy market prices to be passed on directly to the consumer. But the environment minister says the opposition only have themselves to blame for the price rises, as they blocked his attempts to limit them.
I proposed back in January that we put a brake on electricity prices by passing a law to freeze the levy for private households. That would have helped everyone. That's the only way to stop electricity prices going up next year.
The phase-out of nuclear power is the Greens' #1 campaign issue. They were, in fact, the first ones to call for it 30 years ago. Former German Environment Minister Jürgen Trittin, who's running for the Greens, says the government is still relying too heavily on electricity from coal.
Peter Altmaier wants to limit the expansion of renewable energies, claiming that would limit the electricity price. But the truth is the levy would still rise next year, even if not a single new solar plant or wind turbine were to go online.
Even the engine of the Greens' boat is solar-powered. The party wants to speed up the expansion of renewable energy and make it more difficult for coal-fired plants to keep running. And generally, they want to tax the industry more heavily. The only thing all parties agree on is that the energy reform is vital.
It's one of the central, if not the central issue in this election. The energy changeover will show whether an industrial country like Germany can find an energy policy that uses resources efficiently and doesn't impact the environment.
In some of my speeches, I've sought to underline the enormous potential that this energy changeover holds. I liken it to Kennedy's ambition to put a man on the moon.
The energy changeover is one of the most important projects after German reunification and rebuilding. It's like open-heart surgery on the economy.
No comparison is too wild, no promise too grandiose in the fight for votes. Only one thing appears certain with Germany's switch to renewable energy: that there's no way back now.